Here now, here.
Okay. Fluff.
Here we go.
But I will talk as much as I can about it.
Good morning. Welcome to KUHS, the stream on Melody Drive. I am Paul Lane. You're watching the Weekend Boost, and I'm so glad you joined us this morning. Today on our show, we are going to be having a guest that I've really been excited about because, you know, those of you who watch the show regularly know that I'm really big on.
Your music's still up.
My music's still up. Sorry. So you know that I'm big on alternative concepts in the universe, and today we're going to be talking to a woman who I think is just really cutting edge, and I think that she was very exciting to talk to. We had a conversation or two the other night, a couple of nights ago, and I think you're going to enjoy our visit today. For those of you who follow the show normally, I like to talk about guests that I've had on the show recently. In the interest of time, I want to have just a couple of books that authors that I've had on. Kimberly Sanchez Cawthorn wrote this book, Love and Legacy, Amor Eterne, book 1. If you were looking for a great love story, I got to tell you folks, this book is really entertaining. It starts out in the 1500s and it goes to modern day. And if you get a chance to take a look at this book or to order this book, please do. Also, Donna Denome was on my show a few weeks back, and she wrote this book, 8 Keys to Wholeness. And if you saw the show, you saw that this book is translated into Spanish, English, Chinese, Korean, and Vietnamese. So my girlfriend and I are reading this book right now, and man, I'm telling you, it is fantastic. I will be having Donna back on the show here in the next few weeks to come. And I, of course, am the author of The Caregiver's Handbook, a self-help love story. This is a great story, and of course I'm partial, but this is a story of my experience with my wife of 28 years and her cancer experience and how it affected our family and how we addressed it. So today, it's just such an exciting thing to have Barb. She's a little nervous, so I know she'll be comfortable here in just a few minutes. But Barb, I met Barb at a place called Heaven's Sake, and it's a crystal shop that I go to. And I just crossed paths with her, and I don't know, we just made a connection. It was kind of cool, and I saw her, and I said, "Hi, are you?" She said, "I'm a psychic." I said, "Are you Barb?" And she said, "How did you know? Are you a psychic too?" And she just looked like a lady I know who happens to be a psychic. So that was kind of our introduction. And Barb has many gifts, and a lot of times we go through life and we expect someone to have a degree to have authority or to have credibility, and I personally don't believe that is the case all the time. I don't believe that education makes you intelligent, and I don't believe that a piece of paper makes you qualified. And Barbara just has natural gifts, and her gifts are gifts that she's decided and chosen to share with the world. And with that, Barb Crowley, thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thanks, Paul.
Fantastic. So Barb, we talked a little bit about past lives, and that's really a deep topic, and it's something that a lot of people are afraid to talk about, and people shy away from, and people even claim it's from the devil. And so, tell me, how did past lives become a part of your life, Barb?
Past lives, I've got to back up a little bit if you don't mind.
Please.
When I read somebody, I come into their vibration, and then I'm talking to their spirit. When I'm talking to their spirit, we're looking at right now. What's up? What are they working on right now? And then when I see patterns, I'll look, well, where did this come from? And I will go back through their life and then into past lives. Mm-hmm. And they have chosen to come into this lifetime with a plan, experiences they wanted to have, maybe things they wanted to wrap up, that kind of thing. And they'll have past lives that are impacting this life. And when I go back to the past lives, that's what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. Why are you horribly shy? Mm-hmm. And I'll go back and take a look, and it'll be in past lives. Every time they stepped out, they were crucified for it. So now they're afraid to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm looking at what is impacting this past life. And in this life, you know, from that past life, they are working on getting their voice back.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how it all ties together.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's usually how I use past lives. I can go back and we can do what I call the parade and sit on the you know,
The
on the
grandstand.
sideline and watch every past life that went on.
Wow.
Most of them, I love you, everybody dearly, but most of us are kind of boring.
Yeah.
You know, and we really, only the ones that are impacting this life are the ones that, you know, we're interested in.
Yes, yes.
So,
I was pretty excited when you know, we started talking and you started doing a reading on me, and you said that I had died in my last life, and I really wanted to get back to make it right away, and I was really intrigued by that. And you know, you said that I actually almost manufactured a body. I don't know if I misunderstood you, or you said that
I believe, my belief is that there are no young souls here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who is incorporated into life is very, very strong, a very strong soul. And we're like the graduate program. And we have been strong enough to create our own bodies. And that takes a very strong soul to do. And that's why people talk about spirits kind of floating around. And they're floating around, they're trying to get the human experience, but they don't have the ability or the strength to create a body. So that'll give you an idea of how strong a soul you truly are, if you are here in physical form. So when you came into life, you created a body to support the plan you had made to come in, the experiences you wanted to have.
Very interesting.
So if I wanted to be a supermodel and a celebrity, I would be a lot taller, a lot thinner. I would have created the body for that.
Yes.
You know, and I'm not a celebrity and I don't have that body. I created the body that will support the experiences I want to have in this lifetime. So, and I have to tell you too, Paul, you have to remind me, once I'm out of that space, I no longer remember your full story.
Okay, so
I have to apologize.
no problem.
But in a way, it's a lot of privacy, so that's good too.
Yeah. There was very interesting about, you know, I mean, a lot of what you had told me really made sense to me in the way that the way I feel, you know, in the 5 love languages, my love language is words of affirmation, and so I'm, you know, I love positive compliments. You know, I think we all do, but for me, the personality that I have in this world is really, I love recognition, and I love to do a good job, and I like to be appreciated. And
I am remembering some of it. Is being on stage and being a magician.
Yeah, I was a magician. That was like so out of left field. I got to tell you, that was like, wow, that was very exciting, you know. And you know, and I was always very dependent on the approval of the audience, and everything was a life or death situation for me because I was always needing that approval. And so it explained a lot about, you know, the person I am today. So, you know, that was very exciting, very interesting. And, you know, the last time we talked, I was telling you about when my girlfriend Dee and I went to New Mexico, and we took mushrooms and LSD, and we discovered each other.
I have to say.
Yeah, it was great. But you know, that we discovered each other, and then when you told me this is the woman that was with you, the woman you're with now is the woman that was with you in that past life, and it's like we agree. We both. I mean, I hung up the phone and I said, Dee, you're not going to believe this, you know? And it was like, wow, it was amazing. Yeah.
But you knew each other, right?
Yes.
You knew each other right away. You were familiar right away.
Oh, absolutely.
That happens a lot. Yeah, when you're traveling with your soul pod and you come connect each other, it's a familiarity right away.
Yes. So now tell me, Bart, how did you develop this gift, or did it just come to you one day, or did you practice at it, or how did it come about?
I did all of them. so when I was born, my mother tells a story that I would see both sides. So I would stare into corners, but to the point where people would say, "Or I gotta go. The kid's too spooky." So I would, I would be talking to both sides. So it was a natural thing, and a lot of kids actually do. Up until about 4 years old, they're talking to both sides. They have invisible friends, but they're really, they're really there for them. They see both sides. Your pets see both sides. And then as we get older, the curtain comes down on one side. But so anyway, so through my life, it was a very natural thing for me to know things. And in my family, with the number of members, it was a natural thing. And the day I gave it up, I remember, because I was playing with kids in the park, friends, and we were spinning each other around, blindfolded each other, spinning each other around, and saying, "Okay, point to where your house is." And I got it every time. To me, it was very easy, very simple. I didn't need to physically see anything.
Wow.
And then I heard two of them whisper, "She's cheating." So the next time they spun, I knew exactly where my house was, and I pointed the other way. I pointed the other way and said, "No, it's over there." And it was a cutoff. I wanted to conform. I wanted to be, accepted.
Yes.
So, I cut it off, and then during my life, it would save me, It would be like, "Don't go there," or I remember coming home very late one night and coming into my house, and I knew somebody else was in that house and was in the closet.
Wow.
I knew somebody had broken in, but I also knew if I just came in and went upstairs, I would be safe. But if I went to that closet, I would be in terrible danger.
Wow.
So of course, I went in, went upstairs, and the next morning there were things missing. We had been robbed. So, that person was in that. So I got saved on a number of things. It would come through. And then I got psychic hits, as many of your audience do, as many people do. And then I finally sat down and decided to be trained, so I knew how to access it when I wanted to, rather than, just have it come at me. So in a way, I've had it all my life, and I've also been trained. So I've had both.
So now you say you went and you were trained. What is that? What does that look like?
What it looks like is, I actually went and took classes.
Oh, wow.
And there are a number of schools actually around Denver. And one of them is in Boulder, actually. It's Psychic Horizon is one. And Yoga the Mind here in Denver is another. And I went and took classes with them. But with Psychic Horizons, they have a program that you go through. And one of the things I had to learn was I was an empath. And, where if I went into a room, I would send my spirit out to check out who's there, what are they doing, all of that. But with an empath, when you come back in, you don't always come in clean. So I needed to learn how to stay in my own body.
Wow.
And actually, my next class, which is in January, beginning in January, that's a class I'm going to do in a different way, but it's for empaths, how to keep the talent and drop the abuse.
So you'll be teaching this class?
I am teaching this class in January. I'll be teaching this class.
So if someone wanted to sign up for your class today, how would they get a hold of you? How would they do that?
They can email me at bodyandsoulpsychic.com. No, I'm sorry, bodyandsoulpsychic@gmail. I don't have the .com. I shouldn't have put that.
That's all right.
bodyandsoulpsychic@gmail.com.
Okay.
They can email me. They can also call or text at 303-871-8530. And a lot of empaths will understand this, that they are feeling the world, and this is a very tough time for them. They are feeling the world, but their barriers, they have, even though they clean out and all of that, their barriers are porous. So the world is just freaking them out right now because they are just taking it all in and going out to it to feel it.
Yes.
And it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal.
You know, that was one of the revealing things you told me about myself, and that, you know, I've always thought I was an empath, and you confirmed that. And you said that a lot of times I bring back their BS with me, and I let it weigh down on me. And, you know, I got to tell you, since we had that conversation, I've really tried to be a lot more aware of that, and trying to leave it at the door when I walk out of that room. And I really understand that now. I mean, it was really a great revelation for me.
Right. And then there a lot of empaths are afraid to give it up because this is how they know the world. This is how they've operated in the world. And you as an empath will understand this. This is how they've protected themselves, you know, in many ways, because they would, you know, they would merge their energy with the other energy to know them, to know, am I safe?
Yes.
You know, or to know psychically, you know, things. But again, it's quite the cost. So, so when they come back in, they are not coming in clean. They're still somewhat merged with the other energy.
Oh man.
So a lot of empaths are afraid to give up that ability. But that's what I teach, is how to have the ability without the merge.
I see.
How to stay in your own lane and look.
Yes.
You know, so that's what the class is.
You know, years ago I was a valuing diversity instructor for what was then Public Service Company, now Excel Energy. And we had 6,000 employees there, and we would teach every once a month I would teach, and it was a 2-day class, 16 hours. And I would come out of there so drained, and I could never understand, why am I so beat up? Why am I so drained? And I thought it was because of my interaction. And now I look back, and it's because I was that empath, and I was pulling in all of that, all of the fears from all of the participants, and all of their doubts, and all of their, you know, all of their conflict, and their acceptance. But what happened was that really took a lot out of me, and it really weighed me down for a long time afterward.
It's exhausting.
Exhausting, yeah.
It's exhausting. And then they're also throwing energy at you, and because you're porous, because you go in and out, that's sticking on you. Their energy is sticking because they're able to get through those doors that you've opened. So, you know.
So if there's someone out there, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, forgive me.
It's tough to be an empath.
Yeah, it's definitely
I
taxing.
know, I did it.
So if there's someone out there who's listening to the show today, and they really feel like, man, you know, I feel like I have these psychic abilities, but I don't know where to go, or I don't know how to tap into these, or I'm afraid to tap into these. You know, what kind of advice would you have for someone like that?
Listen, to start listening. The thing is everybody is psychic. We all have a multiple senses, so everybody is psychic. What we don't know is how to use it, how to access it, and how to trust it. And those are our big problems. So the how to use it can be taught. The how to trust it, and that's part of the program. This to me is the toughest part, is to bring people in that you don't know, to read them, because you feel like you're making it up. But the validation will start to tell you, no, I'm seeing it real. This is real. So anybody who's a psychic or feels like they are psychic or want to be more aware of it, all they have to do is start to pay attention to what they're getting, and then to let it rest and see if it turns out. That's one way to do it. If they don't want to go for training, I suggest the training, because it pinpoints, it puts it in the box. You are in control of, you know, when to use it, and when you've just got psychic hits coming at you arbitrarily. You know, so the training is the better way to go for that. and, you know, how to read, how to know that, you know, I do courses, so many other people do courses on that.
Oh, fantastic.
And with anybody who thinks it, I would suggest they sit down and take a couple courses on it, just to control it, how to recognize it. It's really, truly the validation
Yes.
that tells you, yes, you are seeing it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But the empath class, I would take first.
Okay.
You know, mostly because in learning how to be a psychic, you don't want to leave your body to know.
Mm-hmm.
You want to stay in your body to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different method. You don't. It's like anything else. You don't want to get the wrong habits at the beginning.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So there's a pathway that's more effective than other ways, and I can imagine that a lot of people go through life having this gift and shunning it, or they're afraid of it because of their faith or because of their religion, or for whatever the reason they're afraid to tap into it, and I'm sure that there are people walking around in the streets today who have that wonderful, powerful gift and deny it.
A lot of people are afraid of it and will deny it. Will, you know, pretend, well, I didn't know that, or that was just a fluke, or whatever. Afraid to know is one thing. The neutrality to know is another.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, they're afraid to know. And another thing that happens is, if with friends or whatever, if you tell them something that, how'd you know that? Now they feel exposed.
Mm-hmm.
Now they feel like you know their secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And now they move away from you. So that's a big fear with people too.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to lose their family and friends because they know too much. You know, so that is another issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. That really makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I remember years ago when I was taking a communications class, and no one knew anyone else in the room. And in the beginning of the class, the instructor had each of us sit next to someone and look at them up and down and tell 5 things about them. And every single person, well, almost without exception, every person in the room named 5 correct things about the person they knew nothing of. And
Yeah.
and it's like, that is exactly what we were doing. Didn't know it, but that's what we were doing.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So,
We all have the ability. We have it. You, in a sense, have to have it to be alive in the world. Just, it's hard to remember how many times you made a right thinking, well, that was a mistake. I wanted to go left. And there was an accident down the street on the left.
yes.
You know, universe and our spirits are guiding us through life to keep us safe.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's quite a bit of times that it does happen.
You bet.
You know, the best, most people know, oh, I thought of you the other day, and then you called me. Lots of that.
Oh yeah, that I get that all the
Lots
time.
of that.
Yeah, my daughter and I are so psychically connected. I mean, it's just like last night we were sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden I get this message, and she sends me a song. The leader of the band, Dan Fogelberg, and I love this song, and it's just like, I forgot all about this song, and she sends it to me, and I said, what made you send this to me? She says, I remember hearing it with you when I was a little girl. And it was like she knew exactly what my spirit needed last night. And I got to tell you, I'm sensitive, man, I don't know, but I wept like a baby just listening to this song, thinking about how awesome it is that she psychically picked up on this part of me, you know, so it's really...
Well, you two are connected.
We are.
It's all family.
Yes.
Yeah, you two are connected.
Yes. Folks, if you're just joining us, you're watching the Weekend Boost on KUHS, the stream on Melody Drive. We're talking to Barb Crowley today. She's a psychic medium. She has so many gifts, and it's very hard to encompass it all, but we're going to be finishing talking to her. Before we go on, I just want to read this quick public service announcements. Need health insurance coverage for 2021? No matter where you live or how you prefer to enroll, Connect for Health Colorado here is help is here to help you find best plan for your medical needs and budget. January 15th is the last day to sign up for 2021 coverage, and only through Connection for Health Colorado can you apply for financial help to lower your costs, protect your health, your finances, and your family in 2021 with high quality and affordable health plan. Please visit connectforhealth. Let me start that again. Connectforhealth c-0.dot. Okay, a little bit confusing here. co.com, or better yet, call 855-752-6749. That is 855-752-6749. Call and get information on getting your coverage for 2021 on your insurance. And back to the interview. So Barb, I'm going to use this term, although I'm using it loosely because we talked earlier about, we don't, because of the law. But I'm going to use the term medical intuitive, and it could be called different things. But what is a medical intuitive?
Well, that's a hard question. I never thought of it that way. Medical intuitive to me, it means that I'm going to do a body scan of you. I am going to look at you physically, and I'm going to look at the disturbances in your body, or what's going on really with you. And I am basically going to tell you what I see. Now, many times in that, I'll see something and tell you, you need a doctor. Or I might, and a lot of this comes up too, saying, you're eating, the foods that you're eating, are wrong for you. And they usually know. People, yeah, I had that this morning. We'll go through some of the foods.
Yes.
But I will go through, and I'll do it from top to bottom, for the simple reason that, you get fascinated by different things and you go off, and then you've forgotten. So I go top to bottom and go through the whole body and talk about the different things that you have going on. Sometimes I can say, you're allergic to milk. Why do you keep drinking milk, kind of thing? Or you need to see a chiropractor. Your body's out of alignment. Things like that. Often it's, and you always start with, I am not a doctor, I am a psychic. So you have to know, I am a psychic. And then there are many times in there that it's, you need a doctor. You need a doctor. And a lot of times when they're sitting down in front of a psychic to ask questions, there's some serious stuff going on that they're afraid to go to a doctor for. So, that's part of it too, to look at it and say, you'll be okay, you're safe, go to a doctor. You need to see a doctor. Sometimes they just need to express their fear. And the fear is legitimate.
Yes. I've known so many people who have felt sick, and they were afraid to tell someone. They were afraid to call a doctor. They didn't tell their spouse. They didn't tell their children.
Right.
And next thing you know, they have to go to the hospital for an emergency, and they find out they're terminally ill. And it's like, why do we do that to ourselves? I can't understand that.
Fear. Fear. Yeah, well, the fear makes the world go round in so many ways.
Man, oh man, you got that right.
Fear.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes people will come to, I'll give you an example. I had a woman come to me and asked me to do a medical read. And I said, you have something going on with your liver and you need to see a doctor. And I went on, and I came back to it and said, this is something for a doctor. It turned out she had been to a doctor and she had terminal cancer. And it was liver cancer and it was terminal, and and then we look into where she is with it emotionally, spiritually, and what she needs to do and what the fears are, the things that um, how to explain it. So in other words, she's afraid to tell her father,
Yes.
type of thing, and how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Should she go there? Should she tell him by phone? Well, I can look at that psychically. I can look at her father and see which way, how to deal with this. You know, and many times I can look at, you know, psychically, spiritually, what is going on? Why are you ending your life now? You know, and often it's because you're done. You have completed. And I'll go in and talk about what you've completed, the things that you've completed. And many people are much more comforted by the fact that, oh, you're right, you know, I did do all of that. You know, I hate to sit and talk on you know, about the most frightening. Most of the things, you know, with people I'm talking about is that pain in your knee is coming from your hip. And you are out of balance and you need a chiropractor, and the same thing with your ankle. These are coming from your hip is out of line. Or you twisted it, or, you know, something. It's usually much more benign. You need a chiropractor, or you need an allergist. Your allergies are totally out of control, and you're pretending, you keep thinking you have a cold and it's allergies, you know, so it's usually much more mild, you know. But many times there is I'll call it a story behind it. There is a psychic reason or a spiritual reason behind it. You know, you're allergic to roses, and what do? Go out and have roses in your house all the time. So let's look at that.
Wow.
So there are things like that. So.
You know, one of the, you know, going back to what I was saying about people are, you know, they're afraid to go see a doctor, or they're afraid to tell someone that they're ill. And I think that it goes back to our fear of death. And, you know, I have a book, it's called the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, and it talks about death and how in the West we view death so shallow and so temporary, and, you know, we think, I should say, it's as an end-all, there's nothing else, you know, or we fear because of our religious upbringing that this horrible place that we're going to go. And you know, after years of researching and studying and talking to people like yourself, I've realized that death is really just another chapter. It's almost like you're going to go to a new hotel room, or you're going into a different state, you know. And you know, so
it really is. The best place to see it with animals, cats especially. When cats pass, they just kind of move over 3 inches. Just honestly leave their body, move over 3 inches, feel better, and hang out. But with people, when we pass on, and I've had the ability and the luck, I guess, to watch both my father and my brother die. And as you know, my brother died the same thing your wife died. And I was able to watch the whole process. It's weird. Men will let me watch. My mother, my aunt, woman will not let me watch.
Wow.
It's like their death is personal to them. They don't want to be watched.
Wow.
But men would let me watch the process of going to the other side and how it was and what went on. And it's fascinating.
Oh, absolutely.
And when we talk to hospice people later, because there's a certain sound too.
Yes.
And when I talk to hospice people later, they know that sound. They've heard that sound. And that sound is, you know, I don't want to get into it too much, but and I call them the choir, because I don't know what else to call them. But when someone is dying, and I've watched them both die of a cancer death, which is a slower death. And when someone is dying, there is a choir, I'll call them, but there is a group of spirits that come in, and there's a humming, but it's a certain sound, and they are raising the vibration of the person who is dying. raising that vibration up, and the vibration of what I call heaven is coming down to me.
Wow.
So at that moment of death, it's seamless to go through.
Wow.
So, and then sometimes I can watch on where we along the process, how big's the choir, and who's there. The choir is often people, spirits that you don't know. The spirits that you do know that are there are usually on the other side waiting for you. You know, so they're not on this side doing the work. But anyway, I kind of went off to the side a little bit. In the United States, we're afraid of it. We pushed it as far away as we can, and pretended it doesn't exist. We've done all of those things. But I'm also a medium, so I can call in anybody from the other side. People sit down and say, "Well, who do you see?" Well, there are a bunch of spirits around. I see a whole bunch of them around. But if you want to, you know, if we want to pull in for you, I usually will need a name or go by a name. And the funny part to me is I cannot go by, here's how they look, because nobody that died at 85 is going to come back looking like they're 85.
Yeah, that's too cool. I love that.
Yeah, they're going to come back looking like they're 33. Looking, and you know, people say, "Oh, spirits have no ego." They have a little bit.
They have a little bit of ego, yeah.
And so I will always talk about their personality. Here's who they are to make sure I have the right people.
Wow.
Here's who they are. And when I call in pets that have passed on, or I even want to look at pets, again, it's the personality. Because little dogs think they're big.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's a fact.
I know, and they'll show up as these huge dogs, and they're really this tiny little dog.
I had a Jack Russell. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that gives me the pictures they want, you know, they believe.
That's so funny you say that, because I had a Jack Russell, and I would tell everybody she's a Rottweiler, and then I'd whisper, she thinks she's a Rottweiler.
It's true. It's true. And you know, same thing with spirits that have moved on. They will show themselves the way they, in their minds, or the way they want to be seen. They will come in, and they are very much in your lives. People who have passed on are very much in your lives.
Yes.
We, excuse me, we have trouble seeing and hearing them because we have a cloak of density we put around us to come here, you know, to be human. Because if we didn't have that density, everybody'd be out of here by about age 5. Say, oh, never mind, I like it over there.
I like that. Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, we have a cloak of density. And then there's something else for people who have lost somebody and are grieving. This is something I want everybody to know, every grieving person to know. The spirit, the person you've lost is there, but because of the emotion, the density of emotion, they're having trouble getting through. So they will talk, so you'll be in a grocery store checking out in your regular grocery store, and the grocer said, the weirdest thing happened. I dreamed of your husband last night. And he said he wanted you to know he's great. And you go all the way home so upset because your grocer is dreaming of your husband and you can't dream of your husband. Well, your husband went through your grocer because he knew he could get through to the grocer, and he knew the grocer would tell you.
Wow.
So listen to the messages around you, because they are for you. They are for you.
Wow.
And then as you get further away from that death and it eases up a little bit, you'll hear them and see them. They're there with you. And often they'll do things like the keys that were on the kitchen table now are not on the kitchen table. And you'll search the whole place, and then you'll give up, and then they're on the kitchen table.
Oh my gosh, I've done that so many times. That's, I've wondered about that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a message, yeah. spirits want to be seen. They want you to know they're there and they love you and they're there for you.
Wow.
And they want to be seen and heard and they want to get through. They just, when the grief is so heavy, listen to other people that you'll hardly know. Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Because the person you lost is sending you a message through them. So but they are with you and they are whispering at you. It's that, that emotion that it's tough to get through. But they will. Eventually you'll be able to hear them and, almost see them. It'll be almost, but you'll know they're there. And I always say to people who are grieving, talk out loud to them.
Yes. Grieving.
They can
I wanted to talk a little bit about, right now we're in this unimaginable time, this pandemic that, we never dreamed that this would become what it's become. And we are now a nation in grieving. We've lost 300,000 souls in this such a short time, in 9 months. And I can imagine that there are souls everywhere at this time. And I'm just imagining, but is there like an influx of souls that's going on right now, or do you sense anything that's changed since this pandemic?
Well, we can't say since the pandemic because we're still here,
Right.
There are things that what's changed over a number of years leading up to this that are unusual. So most people will come in with a plan, of what they want to do here and the experiences they want to have with the people, and they will do what they plan to do, and then they'll complete it. But the difference I've seen in the last 5 years, and I've been actively, reading and everything else for 20 years now, actively. Before that it was, as needed. And so in the last 5 years or so, I have seen people complete their lifetimes and not leave their body and start a new lifetime within their same body. And this is kind of new. I'd say it's the last few years, but it's new. This has not happened before. And what it is everybody's speeding up and people want to do as much as they can do. What's going on is the vibration is rising. And as it's rising, we are able to finish one period and start a new period within the same body. And people are doing it. Yeah.
Wow.
And I have to say to them, you feel like you're a whole different person? You are. You are.
Wow.
It's really a fascinating thing on my side to watch.
No kidding.
But our vibration is going up. Vibration is rising. And the tension is you've got an old vibration and a new vibration. And that doesn't mean anything's bad or good. It's just a change in vibration. And as that rise is going on, you see the intensity and the upset and the fear and the people fighting and all of this. And there are souls that have come in to do nothing but raise the vibration. This is what they came here for. And a lot of those souls are now leaving. They have raised the vibration to this point, which is kind of a clash of vibrations going on right now. This pandemic, when I look at it psychically, to me it's like a fog, it's like a sandstorm. And it's hard to make out. Lately it's lifted a little bit, but you can't see through it. It's hard to make out. But what it is the vibrations have clashed. They've come, the new vibration and the old vibration are at the pinnacle right now. And this is part of the pandemic, of why the pandemic, why the churning. is the best word I have for it,
Mm.
and the clash that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to go into the newer vibration as we, we're at the peak of it, and as we go past this, we will go into more the newer vibration than the older vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the pandemic. This is what it is. And many souls have come in to assist to bring, to raise the vibration, to bring humans or the human energies into the new vibration. And we're cool, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who have completed and not moved on, started a new life, say that they want to stay longer. Okay, I decided I want to see the other side of it, the rest of it.
Mm.
So, but that's why so many souls are leaving. And then the ones with the pure, higher vibration are coming in now.
Mm.
And you can see a relaxing of many things in the newer generations.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the old vibrations have gone away.
Mm.
A lot of the, a lot of the white and the brown being separate. You're seeing the new generations are blending. They don't even say it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a new vibration. This is this is a new vibration. But the old vibration is very frightening. It's very upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
So there are quite a bit of souls that have come in to move to human energy along, to
Mhm.
get it to the new vibration. And they are leaving right now. Not that it makes it easier for us to lose anybody,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's when I look at it psychically, this is what I see going on.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, you know-
Yes, good and good and hard.
It makes me think of Eckhart Tolle when he wrote his book A New Earth, and he talked about this frequency or this vibration, and that the earth and the people in the earth are coming to a different level of awareness, of consciousness. And Chris Viagino, one of my friends, he's been on the show as well. He talks a lot about levels of consciousness and awakening, and it's so fascinating to talk to him because it makes perfect sense. And what you're saying is in perfect alignment with what he said about this frequency. That is, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, and many of us I think fear it, and many of us avoid it. But it's really something that we should be embracing right now because it's inevitable. What's happening is inevitable, and we're right now we are where we are, and we just need to learn to vibrate at the right frequency.
One of the things that I watch, especially with the kids, when I say the kids, it's anybody under 25.
Yeah, anyone under 40.
Actually, in many ways, yeah. And the anxiety level is so high because they're coming in at a higher vibration, taking on a body that's a lower vibration. It's hard for them to get into the body and stay in the body. And you'll hear kids cutting. Have you ever heard of them
Yes.
cutting themselves?
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah, and it's terrifying to us adults to hear that. It's like, oh my God, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That in many ways is a way to try and ground themselves, to bring them into their body.
Oh
Because they
wow.
don't know how to do it, and it's frightening. People talk about in the shower, they will get their most psychic hits, or they'll feel more grounded, whatever. And it's the same sense. Where the water is hitting your body, your spirit is more in your body because you can feel your body.
Wow.
So anybody who's thinking of cutting, please get in the shower. You can do the same thing.
Wow, that's great to hear.
Yeah. There are techniques or meditations to get you in the body, and often I have to do it with people. It's a hard time to be in the body through fear will pop us out, but you've got a new vibrational spirit coming into a dense human body,
Mhm.
because bringing the body into the new vibration, that's a tough one.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a tough one.
You know, when my wife was in hospice, she was in Porter Hospice for 7 months. And every day an average of 2 people would die there. And the nurses would come into my room and I would say, someone just died. And they go, how do you know? And what would happen was I had a CD player. And every time, almost without exception, someone would die, my CD would go through this skip. And when you were talking about a sound, it would go through this same skip with every death. And then it would be like it was almost as if something came through the room and zipped through, and then it went out. And I really struggled with that, and I argued with myself, it's not real, you're imagining it, until the nurse would come in and I would tell her someone just died, and she would say, how did you know? You know? And so
it's validation.
It's validation. Yes, yes. And I thought, well, you know, I don't think it's because I have special connection, it's just because I happen to be in the right place at the right time. But now I'm looking back and I think maybe I should have maybe drawn on that. Maybe I should have studied that or been a little more aware of what was happening. Very exciting.
But you were aware. You were just kind of freaked out about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you knew every time it skipped, somebody just died.
Yes.
So you were aware, but you just were frightened by it.
Oh, I gotta tell you, I wasn't frightened. I was really intrigued. I was mesmerized because, you know, I think what I took from it was this: death does not scare me. Death does not have a hold on me at all. I don't care if I'm burnt, fall off a cliff, hit by a car, heart attack. I don't care. I am okay with life, and I'm okay with what comes after. You know. And you know, and I've really come to realize that this crying that we all do is not for them.
Oh, not at all. They're fine.
Yep, they really are, truly are.
I've told people I have trouble telling. Sometimes I have trouble looking at somebody and telling if they're alive or dead. I can only base it on how happy they are, and the really happy ones, they're dead. They're really happy. They're really happy. But I've had some of the funniest experiences with spirits who passed on, coming back very upset about their house or their. I had a reading with somebody one time. They wanted to really talk about their mother, who I called in, but their aunt came in, and because they had their aunt died and then their mother died pretty close together. And they had to clean, these two sisters had to clean out both houses and sell both houses. Well, they had cleaned out and sold their aunt's house, but they wanted to know about their mother. They wanted to know why certain things were missing, but you don't want to get into that. But anyway, I kept saying to them, what's with the roses? And they'd say, well, I don't know what you mean, I don't know what you mean. So then we'd go on for a little bit, and then I'd say again, what's with the roses? We've got to find out what's with the roses. We'd go on a little bit and then come back. Well, it finally turned out that at their aunt's house, she had grown roses and she loved her roses. And she worked on them all the time and they were beautiful, da-da-da. And they sold the house to a family that pulled the roses out.
Oh.
And she was upset.
Oh.
And it turned out, and she hated the kid that lived in that house, and she would haunt him sometimes. I know, but you know, it kept coming back. What's with the roses? So spirits don't always unattach from things that they cared very much about on this side. You know, it is kind of funny.
Wow, that's interesting.
I know.
It's so interesting.
But what happens too, and you know, and I wrote a thing about what I watched dying, is there are what I call flybys. And as the spirit is leaving, I call them flybys because you'll think of that person. You'll be walking down the street on the other side of the earth, and suddenly they'll come to mind. You know, and then you'll find out later they passed.
Wow.
You know, and it's a flyby, and your electronic equipment tells the flyby.
Oh boy, I've seen that so many times.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, I lost a brother in February of this year, and I lost a brother 2 months ago. And Man, my brother Joey that died, I don't know, for some reason these past 2, maybe 3 weeks, I am just, I don't know if the word is obsessed or I'm really feeling his visit. I've been feeling his presence, and it's so funny because all of a sudden I get a photograph of my 2 brothers and me. They're both gone, and then I get a picture, and I get my nephew, my other brother's son, came over to visit me last night, David, and oh my gosh, it was so, I don't even know the word. I just love this young man. I just love him, and his girlfriend and his wife are just such wonderful people, and I just feel like my brothers are reaching out to me, and I'm almost frightened. I'm not frightened, but I'm almost wondering if they're calling me home.
Probably not.
Well, they're just being ornery.
I can work with you and we can pull them in and see what they want.
Mm.
But a lot of times they just want to be with you and want to be acknowledged.
Oh.
That they're here. They want to be just acknowledged. As if in human form you want to be seen.
Oh, yes.
So in many ways they still want to be seen.
Yes.
Acknowledge that, yeah, they are here, and they are part of your life. And they are part of your soul life always.
Absolutely.
So yeah. But another time we can take a look at that and
Yes.
see what are they up to. What are do they want something? Have you pulled out the roses on them?
That's what I'm wondering. Oh my gosh, what did I do?
Yep, and all they want to do is be heard.
Mm-hmm.
You took my roses.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. As I was looking at my nephew last night, I was just so proud of him. He's just done so well with himself, and he's a good husband, and they're having a baby, and I just couldn't stop thinking Johnny would have been so proud of you, and I felt like I was there in his stead. I hugged him when he left, and I got tears in my eyes right now thinking about it, because it was just like I was hugging my brother.
Right.
So
and the thing is your brother was using you to hug him too.
Oh.
Your brother is very proud of him.
He is.
And once that, the energy of,
Yes.
great, I'm so
Yes.
happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it spirits don't go away and disassociate.
Mm-hmm.
They,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not always there. They are busy over there.
Yeah, I believe that too. Let me ask you something about sleep. I've heard that when we sleep, especially my friend Chris and I were talking about earlier, Chris talks about, when we're sleeping, we go on other journeys, and we go to other worlds, if you will. And what is your thought on that?
Oh, we travel.
We travel.
This is why we love to sleep. We travel.
Yeah.
We do leave our bodies, and we do, we go to other areas or other spheres or other places.
Mm-hmm.
We do travel, and our spirit loves to travel. It's a hard thing to be in this body. It's very confined.
It's very limiting. I agree.
Yeah.
Especially when you combine it with, you add pains, and you add illness, and you add pandemics, and heartbreak, and death of loved ones. There's so many dynamics, and we're all trying to digest it all, and we're still trying to stay grounded in this person that is us. And so it's so refreshing to be able to talk to you about this thing, because I think there are a lot of people out there who are hurting right now. There are a lot of people who are in darkness or in confusion and a cloud and a fog, and I think that really sometimes we just need to take a step back and take a deep breath and say, hey, I'm okay.
Right. And a lot of people are out of their body, have popped out from the fear.
Yes.
And again, these two vibrations coming together are pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
So they're popping out up there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is especially true of any caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
The other person is so afraid that their energy is coming at you, and as a caregiver, often you have opened up your energy for them, but now you go home and you're carrying all this fear, all this need, so you are really, talk about exhausted.
Oh, when you combine that with being an empath, oh my gosh, that explains a lot of what I've been through in the last, in those years, yeah.
And these caregivers are natural empaths. That's almost why they went into that field, to merge, to help.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's taken them down.
Ah.
It's exhausting, and in many ways, those are the ones I want to help most, because those are the ones that need the protection most.
Wow.
And they're dealing with people that, from their fear of being ill and their need, are popping out of body and right into their body because they're so in need of comfort and to alleviate the fear.
Wow.
So, but anyway, look, getting back to during the day.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're totally human. Well, at night when we sleep, we can escape. We can go homes in a way. We can go home. We can be the spirit again.
Wow.
And we can let the body rest and leave it alone. I've had times where my spirit was late coming back. I woke up a second before it arrived back.
Oh boy.
And truthfully, I had to go on a diet afterwards. It was this huge spirit trying to get into this body. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Well,
But
Barb,
during this pandemic, the need to be in the body, that is the hardest part.
yes, I think that there's a struggle there.
Yeah.
You know, this hour has gone so fast. It seems like we've been talking for 15 minutes, and our time is up.
Okay.
Barb, I am so humbled and grateful that you've come to join us today, and I'm just.
Thanks for the opportunity too, Paul. I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me be scared to death to do this.
So give me your phone number one more time in case someone wants to reach out and take your class next month.
Okay, it's 303-871-8530. And I put up under my name, I put up my email, I fixed it.
Okay.
So it's bodyandsoulpsychic@gmail.com.
bodyandsoulpsychic@gmail.com. Folks, you've been watching The Weekend Boost. I am Paul Lane at KUHS The Stream on Melody Drive. I am so thankful that you've joined us today. I hope you have a wonderful day. We have Christmas coming up. Hanukkah is now. We have so many wonderful spiritual Kwanzaa's coming. Spiritual days of celebration, and I just wish you all wonderful blessings and joy and happiness in all that you do in the days and weeks and years to come. Stay healthy. Make sure and wear your mask. Love your neighbor. I'm Paul Lane. Thanks for watching.